Here we go.
Well, hello there. How is everyone? You amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. It's Monday. This is video 2, and you are absolutely amazing. Anyway, let's get straight into the meat and potatoes. Like I say, this is video 2 of 2. If you saw video 1, then you'll know that this video was coming and what we're going to be talking about. If you didn't, then this will be a surprise. And you've also had another surprise. This is video 2 and you missed video 1, so you can go and watch that afterwards. Anyway, let's get straight into the meat and potatoes as we talk about this. Check this out. So 3 years after being left for dead in a Tenerife flat, his killer still walks free. That's it. He's killed and his killer walks free in Tenerife. And I can hear you already. Why is that? Why is that harsh? How is that even possible? How can someone kill someone and walk free? Surely it's because there just isn't enough evidence to convict, right? You'd think so. So this is the guy, Andrew, or Ed Walsh. There he is there. Don't sort of prejudge. Don't prejudge. I know he's got his hat on backwards and he's wearing a massive great gold chain with Boss. In fact, he's got a very similar, minus a gold chain I don't do, but massive gold chains, very similar style to myself. So be careful what you think. In one of the world's best loved holiday destinations, police were called to a stabbing. Officers made their way to apartment 310 at Island Village, a whitewashed complex in Costa Adage, a stone's throw from Tenerife's party hotspot, Playa de las Americas. As police edged closer to the scene, they saw 3 men. Oh, and by the way, trigger warning, if you don't like hearing about violence or injury or that sort of stuff, this skip forward about 3 or 4 minutes. As police edged closer to the scene, they saw 3 men, 1, 2, 3, including one who carried a mop and bucket. It had been used to clean up the blood of Andrew Walsh, who lay dead inside the flat. More than 3 years on from the attack, his killer is still walking the streets. Yesterday, May 13th, an inquest heard how the horror unfolded. Now, just remember this as well. This is 3 years ago. So we know right now that there's an inquest that's just started on the Jay Slater situation. Now, this is the inquest 3 years on from this. Okay? And it's very important to note that this person was clearly murdered. You're going to go on to hear some shocking information. And yeah, and what's going to happen? What is going to happen? Because this is kind of preempting what is going to happen later down the line with Jay Slater, and what it takes to have proof that someone did something, and still nothing's going to be fucking done about it. So, chin up. Here we go. So, shortly after midnight on May 6, 2021, police were scrambled to the Island Village complex. The development on Avenida Austria is home to a mix of locals and expats. Now, I know that I'm going to crucify how you say this, the pronunciation. One thing that I will say is I don't fucking care. Andrew, known to his friends and family as Ed, fell in love with the island of Tenerife during a holiday in the summer of 2020. After moving out there from Preston, Lancashire, he spoke to his family back in the UK about his hopes to have his son and daughter over to stay. So he's a dad, you know what I mean? And there is him again, and strangely, wearing the same fucking clothes as me again. Cheers, Andrew. Me and you obviously shop at the same place. So, but Ed's story in Tenerife would have a tragic ending. Witnesses heard him desperately calling for help as the 3 men walked past his body in and out of apartment 301. It wasn't where he fell, but it was where the kind and loving dad of 2 would die. Moments earlier, as the 31-year-old lost a catastrophic amount of blood, his body had been moved. At his inquest, the press in Preston Coroner's Court, Ed's family described him as a Jack the Lad who could often rub people up the wrong way. He had been known to police in the aftermath of his killing, they suggested Ed lost his life in the Island Village complex after a burglary went wrong. A police report sent to a court in Arona at the time stated that Ed had gone to a home with the intention of stealing narcotics or money that could be inside, but his family say this couldn't be further from the truth. The killing sparked a major murder investigation. 5 people were arrested. They included another expat, British bar worker Jimmy Nicol. He was remanded in custody on suspicion of murder pending the ongoing criminal investigation. He was never charged. Preston Coroner's Court heard that several witnesses, including police officers, several witnesses, including police officers, saw Nicol and 2 other men moving Ed's body and mopping up blood on the night of May 6. Ed's valuable watch had been taken from his body, and the knife which was used to stab him in the back had been discarded. The 31-year-old was heard pleading help, help as the killer walked past his body and had a shower to wash away the blood. After Nicol was arrested, he admitted stabbing Ed, but claimed he had done so in self-defense. A police report from the night reads, police attended. A number of officers found Andrew semi-conscious lying on the floor in a pool of his blood. The police officers came across 3 men. One was carrying a cleaning bucket. They weren't helping Andrew. They were trying to clean up the blood. It was like stepping over him and working around him. Jimmy told police that he had opened the door and he was shoved back by Andrew. There had been a struggle, and as a result, Andrew received a stab wound. Remember what we said earlier? Stabbed in the back. So this is bollocks for a start. It was suggested by Jimmy that the knife had been brought by Ed. Jimmy then took a shower to get the blood from his body. They took Ed out to the staircase where they left him. As news of Ed's death began to circulate, his family desperately tried to piece together rumours on social media. More than 3 years later, they have still never seen his body. So another death in Tenerife, murder, where the family don't get to see the body. Ring any bells? Area coroner Kate Bissett described how police in Spain could see inaccuracies in the stories of those in and around apartment 301. She described Jimmy Nicol's account as not credible. Not credible. Absolute bollocks is the actual right terminology for that. Adding that the argument of self-defense was dismissed unless Ed ran towards him backwards, gonna try and whack him with his big back. Twat. A pathologist at the time said the fatal wound was unlikely to have occurred accidentally. Ed's mum Jeanette told the inquest the accused has changed his story twice. If it had been accidental, the knife would still have been in place. Yep, not disappeared, vanished. Court heard how the uncertainty has left Ed's family with more questions than answers about that tragic night. His sister says it made her decision if he had faked his own death. Several witnesses who lived in the Island Village complex described seeing 3 men go in and out of the house several times after Ed was stabbed. Despite evidence against Nicol, a Spanish judge issued an order effectively halting any potential trial. The order can only be overturned by Ed's family, but at a cost of thousands and thousands of pounds. So basically, they would have to privately sue, it would appear, and they just don't have the money. They don't have the money to do it. Reading from the court order issued in 2022, area coroner Kate Bissett said the trial judge agreed to stay in the proceedings would take place. The accused Jimmy Nicol said that Andrew had been to his house and that he had admitted the stab wound, but that it was self-defense. The judge found he wasn't credible and had changed his account. The coroner admitted that even she was amazed that Nicol had not faced a trial accused of killing Ed. We will probably never know exactly what happened, she said. There are an awful lot of things that don't make sense. What most reasonable people wouldn't do is shower, wash the blood off themselves and throw away the knife. But because of the quirks, I like how they put quirks, fucking quirks of the Spanish justice system, that prosecution was stayed, returning a narrative conclusion which Miss Bissett, explained to Ed's family could not name his killer, she said. Andrew Ashley Alexander Walsh died on May 6, 2021. Mr. Walsh died as a result of stab wounds inflicted by an individual. Mr. Walsh's injuries are consistent with a violent death. He sustained injuries which are more likely to be offensively inflicted. If this was a death in this country, you would have so much more support and information. I hope that one day you will get some resolution and justice. So there you go. That is Tenerife for you. Tenerife. And then you question people like me, people like Wax, people like the people in the community who some of you are fucking arguing with, because we have questions surrounding the Jay Slater situation and potentially feel that law enforcement just simply didn't do their due diligence. In that case, you read this. Now let me know what you think down below, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.